It's been a very eventful week for 260 minutes. I took a tour of the theater that I'm going to be performing the best of this coming November in, and looking very excited. I'm going to start work on the set shortly. And then I, of course, had to create this set. Haven't been in much of a stand-up mood this month. We just got back from a show in Toronto as part of the Toronto Sketch Fest with a group I'm a part of called Kaboom Hooray, so haven't really been in that mindset. Although I did get to sit in on a workshop recently with a comic, and he was talking about just how there's funny in the room, funny will happen, and I think I'm going to try to let that happen this evening. I certainly have a topic that I want to talk about. My feelings on the matter aren't really clear yet. I'm hoping to kind of figure that out on stage and maybe get some feedback from these folks as to why I sort of feel in this gray area on the issue.
I've actually experienced hope recently. Yeah, I know, me. The same person that once said out loud, birth is a conscription to life. I said it to a baby's face. I was cute about it. I was like, who's been conscribed to life? Who's been conscribed to life? You didn't ask to be here, no. I had hope, and it was because I think that it was a moment that I realized that we're not all that different as humans. We're kind of united. And it happened at dinner the other night with a friend. We were out drinking, and the conversation turned to a sex act. Not on each other. The conversation turned to a sex act. And the sex act we were thinking about was basically the equivalent of motorboating. But not breasts, but butt cheeks. And we thought about that, and we were like, hey, is there a name for that? And it took me 2 seconds. And I was like, well, it's gotta be called ruddering. And I was right. We went on Urban Dictionary, an entry from 2007, motorboating butt cheeks, ruddering. And it just made me so happy, because as humanity, we all know that eventually we're gonna create some sex act, we're gonna put it on Urban Dictionary, and then burn that washcloth. That's how we solved the situation in Crimea. So I also had this moment the other day. I saw 2 homeless people on the street, and there was this homeless guy picked up a homeless woman and put her in his shopping cart. And I was like, oh, chivalry is not dead. But then I realized I didn't know their situation. That could have been horrible. He could have been trying to return her for a deposit or something. I have no idea. So, okay, stick to the babies. All right, we'll do that. Normally when comics come on stage, we like to have an opinion about things, something very strong and hard and fast. Because, it's like, oh, this is black, this is white, I'm right. And that's kind of compelling entertainment. But a guy coming up here and being like, there's a lot of gray areas is pretty boring. So, there's a lot of gray areas, guys. Morality is relative. Hey-o! And here's what happened. I've noticed recently, and by noticed I mean I've read it in books. It's really easy to notice things when PhDs spell them out for you in books. It's great. That humans, we tend to make decisions very emotionally, and then we backwards engineer our rational decisions to explain those emotions. And this happened just a couple days ago. I'm sure you've all heard about it when Amp Radio burned $5,000 publicly. Yeah, it happened. Everybody got outraged. We just saw it, and we're like, no! And then we tried to find reasons to hate it. I did the same thing. I was like, no, and then I tried to find a reason, and I just couldn't come up with anything. The city is, of course, livid with this. The AMP radio station is acting like a toddler that flushed keys. They just don't know. What? This is bad? It's just such a last-ditch marketing effort for the company. To me, I think you should keep listening to AMP radio, because in 2 months, they're going to be giving hand jobs to listeners. Which isn't as good as it sounds, because the person giving the hand job is going to be a contest loser of some kind. I didn't phone in fast enough. Oh, I'm so sorry. I kind of know why people are mad. I know that like knowing about AMP radio is very annoying. Like a lot of people had no idea who they were, and now you're aware of them. Like, oh fuck that, I don't even like Macklemore. God damn it. But I think it's misplaced anger because this has been happening in Calgary for years. Horrible radio contests. It's been happening around the world for years. The first one I was aware of was years and years ago. It was part of CJ92. It was Jerry Forbes' World's Toughest Contest. I don't know if you ever heard about this. One of the qualifying rounds, this guy didn't win. The qualifying round was that he had to bikini wax his mom. Yes, I know. How would you ever look at your mother again in the eyes? It's ridiculous. Like, hey, honey, do you want some cereal? Sure, pass the box. Damn it. What happened to your wallet? It got snatched. Shit. I've actually said those things before, but what's old is new again, right? No, fuck me. All right.
That was easy.
But so anyway, so recently though, they have done that. The biggest reaction that people tried to backwards, like they got emotionally invested and they're like, no, this is bad, and the money burning. And then they backwards engineered and were like, oh, I think it's because the money could have gone to such and such. Now technically they were actually doing a vote online to say either the money gets banked and sent to charity or it gets burned. And 100,000 people in Calgary voted. But if that was true, they're lying to us. If 100,000 people were listening to AMP radio, they wouldn't have had to do this. Like, there would have been no need. They were fine. Advertisers will pay top dollar for that, so they didn't have to do that. It's also, to me, it's not, I know it's horrible to say, it's not that much money. Like, we've all wasted in our lives that much money, for sure. Maybe not all at once, or maybe at once. Who has arts degrees? Anybody? Yeah, sure. Yeah, those glass houses are expensive, aren't they? Yeah. But the big thing is that they would say the money could have gone to such and such, and they just named their charity of choice. It was never going to go to charity. That's the thing. It was a marketing budget. It was always going to go to marketing. They wanted it to burn, so we'd be having this conversation right now. It's the same way, getting mad at them is the same way as like yelling at your television during a Super Bowl commercial. You're just like, no, God damn it, $1 million? That could have helped orphans. Fuck you. You don't do that though. You share it because it's a cute puppy. That's what you do. And go back. Relativity? No, morality is relative. Okay. I've been outraged by this station before, actually. The first time it happened, and I've been making fun of this for over a year now, it was when AMP Radio ran a contest called Who Wants to Be a Baby Mama? And they pitted a bunch of couples against each other, 5 couples, so 10 people just started screwing their brains out. What was interesting about that to me, and the first one to get pregnant would win, what was interesting about that to me is that these couples had to be told to have sex. I thought that all of biology was just gearing towards that end. Like they were just sitting there, childless, and then AMP Radio comes on. Hey, I got an idea. It made no sense. 6 billion of us on Earth. Apparently it feels pretty good. Then a little while later, they actually came up with the 90.3 hour marriage, where they made 2 strangers marry each other, blindfolded, put them on a plane, flew them to Vegas, they did a honeymoon, they came back and got divorced. Which is the exact same thing as a mail order bride. I see no difference. It's human trafficking. They're just not fleeing a war-torn country. They just don't want to work at Shell for a weekend. Who's caused the war-torn countries? Yes! Getting political. But what's funny about that to me is that at no point in any of these things, the marriage one or anything, nobody did what they're doing now. The outrage just wasn't there. There was no petitions to get AMP Radio off the air. People weren't tweeting at the mayor like he's Batman. How can you stop this? I feel so bad for that man. He's like, my foot hurts, Nenshi. What's wrong with you? It just gets so much shit. And so I think that's ultimately what people are really mad about, is that AMP Radio has showed us who we really are as people in Calgary. And we're people, better or worse, that don't care. We're people that care less about marriage, love, and babies than we do about $5,000. Which is a really shitty thing for a morning show to do to you. Like traffic on the 1s and cognitive dissonance on the 3s. That's all for me. Thank you so much. Get home from a long, hard day, or the scotch she'll pour you, or keeping kids quiet, or her not voting. I'm turned on. How about you? Yeah.
That went pretty well. I'm glad I trusted myself to find those beats. Actually, the closing line, the cognitive dissonance on the threes, didn't occur to me till I was on stage. I had the idea of relating that to radio and what was going to happen, but the exact verbiage didn't occur to me till I was on stage, and I'm really excited that I found that. I do not think it'll work everywhere that I perform. Obviously, it's pretty exclusive, or pretty selective, but I think enough audiences will like it, and if I put it at the right point in the set, I think I found something fun to play with there and to extend the bit I was doing. That was actually, I think it was from week 51 of 260 when they did the Who Wants to Be a Baby Mama contest. I think if I blend all that together, I got a nice new solid chunk.